Okay, so if you haven't heard or seen, during the dev live stream, they mentioned that they were going to be doing something to Sanctum. People were asking me, what do you think is going to happen? So over the last 3 days, for the record, I look like a complete just jackass, because the last 3 days I've been saying, I don't think it's going to be that bad. I think they'll just focus on the early game and maybe touch the end game, but I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, I was wrong. So to catch you up to speed, here's what they did. Sanctum room rewards, which allow you to defer currency to the end of the floor or end of the Sanctum, now have a lower chance to contain high tier currency like divine orbs. This also means divine orbs, sacred orbs, mirrors, and exalted orbs. Those are all considered high tier. If you didn't know, divine orbs and exalted orbs technically have the same drop chance, so this affects them. And on floor 3, those currency items no longer appear, but stack size is greater than 1, which means on the 3rd floor, you will not be able to find 2 divine orbs, you will only find 1. This can still be duplicated for the record, obviously, but you're only gonna find 1. And the reason they're doing this is because the ease of completing Sanctum relative to the rewards was mismatched, and this will put it more in line. We are intending to do a grander pass to the rewards and content of Sanctum in a future expansion. We will give it its new identity and its own exclusive reward. So how do I feel about it? If you don't know, I've league started Sanctum, I think 3 or 4 times. I've done it in hardcore 3 times and in softcore once. Personally, I just, as a human being, I don't care about nerfs at all. I really I don't. This league, I lost Splitting Steel, I lost Hex Blast, and now I'm losing Sanctum. It's been a bad league start for me in that sense, but I'm still excited. You can still play new stuff. There's always something to do in Path of Exile, and I'm sure we'll find some new broken currency strategy besides Sanctum. With that being said, here's the thing that really bothers me. Overall, it is 100% possible that this is a 10% nerf, or it's a 50% nerf, right? If it was a 10% nerf, I would 100% spent more time on this Penance brand character. I would have did even more testing, and I would even consider league starting Sanctum. If it's a 30% nerf, I'm passing, I'm not interested. We don't know, and honestly, that's what bothers me the most, is that we just don't have any idea what this is gonna actually amount to. The other problem I have with it is I don't really think this addressed the entire big problem I had, and most people I feel like also had with Sanctum, which is, listen, I like me some Sanctum, don't get me twisted. I'm a little annoyed that Sanctum got nerfed, but at the same time, dude, on the 7th hour, on league start, I am going to stop in Sanctum on a character that is not a Sanctum character. I'm going to be playing Bama, and I will leave the quest Sanctum with 20 to 30 chaos of just general raw currency with a small chance of a divine orb. So it's not deleted. You still have a small chance to get a divine orb. That's crazy. On the 7th hour of the PoE league start, you can just do your quest Sanctum. You walk out with 30 chaos. Here's the other problem. Because Sanctum is nerfed, the tomes themselves are going to go from 15 to 20 chaos on the first 10 hours of league start. They might be 5. I really don't know, but they genuinely might be 5 chaos. And so you're telling me I just pay 5 chaos for something. I do my Sanctum. I get insanely good EXP. I walk out with a minimum of 20 to 30 chaos worth of stuff, and I still have a 10% chance at a divine orb. I feel like that was kind of the problem with Sanctum, and they didn't really address that part. With that being said, the end game, you wouldn't always find 2 divines on the 3rd floor. It wasn't like unlikely. I definitely have, over like a course of a 10-hour day, you will find 2 divines on the 3rd floor, so you're definitely going to lose divines in that regard. On the other hand, Sanctum was not one of the best endgame strategies. After like 5 days, I think most endgame strategies were making more money than Sanctum farmers, because no matter what you do, you can only go so fast in Sanctum. We can't get 5,000% move speed. There's a limit. So at this point, I just feel like even nerfing it by like 15, let's say it's only like a 15% overall nerf, that's still pretty bad, because Sanctum was only good for maybe the first week where it was like, hey, it's pretty competitive. And over the course of the 2 to 3 weeks, it's kind of like you sell your stuff and you move on to other stuff, because the end game juicing strats are so good. By the way, they announced that they were going to do some of the biggest juicing strategies ever. So they nerfed Sanctum in the same league where Sanctum's probably going to be pretty weak after like 5 days. I don't know what that's about. Okay, it sucks, but all right. But for those few guys who want a new Sanctum runner, hey, I got you. I understand that you still want to do Sanctum. You don't care about the nerfs. So I will show you what I was working on. All right, like I said, we're mostly just going to briefly kind of cover this. If you ever played Hex Blast before, the gear is like 90% the same. It's just a different skill. So I'll mostly just cover the low end version because I think that's the most important. And then we'll kind of just briefly cover the end game version because it's still running Rally Cap. It's still stacking charges. The biggest thing here is that you will not have, 5 million damage. This is with these specters on. If you take these specters off, you will go down to about 2 million damage. 3 million damage. This is still more than enough to do your first Sanctum, and this is just wearing absolute garbage gear, 5C uniques, nothing crazy. I did not come up with this combination. I'm not going to take credit for that. I believe that this is from Captain Lance, apparently. I don't know. I learned of this from this guy who only plays Penance brand, and then he recommended Kua, who does Sanctum Penance brand, and I seen it from Kua. So I don't know who came up with this. This is kind of the state of PoE where it's like, well, I don't know who to give credit for. Whoever made it, you did good here. It's solid. All of it's really cheap. It works out. I tried to check out for different uniques, different setups. I think this is 100% good. And as you've seen from that footage, that was all just wearing this gear, garbage gear. Without the respecters, you're still doing over, 3 million damage. Penance brand is it's that good stuff. So very simple, very straightforward. The idea is that you're getting Blood Mage, you have Eternal Blessing Haste, you scale a bunch of cast speed. Penance brand just deletes everything. It's using Ghost Wraith tech to scale the health into ES. That's where we're getting all this. And then technically speaking, we are running Energy Blade, which means we're actually at like 5,000, 6,000 ES. But Energy Blade cuts your ES in half and gives you damage. So that's kind of, how it works. Otherwise, you can just put on all this stuff. It'll make sense as you go. Do not, and I'm saying this, hey, there might be one guy who's like, I'm league starting Sanctum, I want to try it. Do not level with Penance brand of Dissipation at like level 50 or anything like that. Just play Armageddon brand, Storm brand. I'm not going to have a whole leveling tree or anything like that. I'm sorry. Long story short, not really worth the time for me to just sit here and spend 4 hours working on PoE anymore. I got other stuff I'd rather test and try out, so sorry. I would really recommend you look into something called Rogue Harbor Strat. You can just go check out my old Hexblast guides. Even if you don't plan on doing Sanctum, I really recommend the Rogue Harbor Strat, especially for like newer players who struggle with early on currency. You're going to walk out of there with at least 50 to 100 chaos, depending on how long you do it. It sets you up, gets you a 5 link, and you should have a really good time going into maps, or in this case, entering Sanctum. And then for the absolute super duper, endgame version, like I said, if you looked at Hexblast in the past, a lot of this should look the exact same. You're stacking power charges. You don't wear a Malachai's Loop until after you have Relicash, power charge Relicash. Now the big tech that we're doing here is a normal Pharaoh's Fur works or a replica Pharaoh's Fur. Either way, the idea is that if you take this charge duration node here, you put on a replica or normal Pharaoh's Fur, and you need, this is important, you need Aspect of the Cat. It comes from Bestiary, it's a suffix. Put Aspect of the Cat on something. This makes it free, so you don't have to worry about reservation or anything. It makes it free. You just put it on, and it will give you max frenzy charges, and if you have a replica, it will also give you endurance charges, and you literally just have Relicash all over again. You lose the move speed from not having a Restless Ward, but it's, this is definitely the better option because frenzy charges are so much of our damage. I mean, 29 million, 51 million, I'm taking the 51, right? So that gives you max frenzy charges. We're still going to run Badge of the Brotherhood. Just keep in mind you will every now and then potentially lose a frenzy charge when you flame dash, but really not a big deal. This will refresh it every 20 seconds. So if you're ever in a room for longer than 20 seconds, it goes right back to max. You're good to go. Outside of that, don't run a Militant Faith. You can't use it anymore. It just doesn't work with not having Relicash having the. It's a wording thing. Just you can't run a Militant Faith anymore. Aside from that, this is a very similar tree to Hexblast. You will run Righteous Fire later on. That's what the whole Eldritch Battery stuff is here. Might over matter. 1, it's for Righteous Fire, and 2 is to solve mana. And that's more or less it. It's a pretty straightforward build. I was excited to play it. I'll still play it, but that's only going to be trying to see how bad the damage is, I guess you could say. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Have a good one.